Hi, it's Rob the Fix-It Guy. How you doing? Today I've got my 2006 Buick Rendezvous control arm. We got some issues with the control arm. First of all, the lower control arm bushing. You can see if I flex that, so you can see the crack there. So unfortunately, it's not completely gone, but it does have a bit of a crack there. So what I've done is I've decided, rather than replacing this, which is quite difficult to get out, the lower control arm bushing, and replacing the ball joint as well, what I've decided to do is replace the whole control arm. As you can see, this is riveted in. Extremely hard to get these rivets out. This is the edge of the rivet here. You have to use a die grinder and get this all out. I did one and I decided, you know what, this isn't worth the aggravation. So I bought a whole control arm with a new ball joint and new bushings for $100, so it's not even worth fixing this. So the one I bought is made by Novotech. This is the one here, and I'll show you what it looks like. So you got the control arm complete. This is just a cover for the ball joint. That comes off. Brand new ball joint, brand new bushing here. So it's basically just a matter of removing 2 bolts and putting it into the car. And then of course, filling up the grease on the ball joint. All right, so that's what we're gonna do today. All right, step 1, we're gonna remove the tire. All right, so here we've got our ball joint nut, and you can see we've got our cotter pin here. So I straightened it out a little bit, and now I'm going to pull it out. There we go. We got the cotter pin out. All right. Next, we're going to use an 18 mil to loosen our ball joint nut here. There we go. So you can't get the nut out. What you got to do is just kind of loosen it to a point because there isn't enough clearance. Now what we're going to do is use a pickle fork here to separate the ball joint. We don't particularly care if we rip the ball joint, you know, the vinyl here around the ball joint because we're replacing it anyway. We're going to use a pickle fork here to separate the ball joint. All right. There we go. It's loose. Okay. Now, actually, we'll keep this in here just so that we can continue taking our nut out. And there we go. All right, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove our sway bar end link here. This is a 13 mil. Hopefully we can get this loose. And keep this all together, that way you know how it goes together once you're done. All right. Okay, so the next thing we've got to disconnect here, or remove, right here, this little plastic cover. There we go, 1 and 2. So the reason we're going to remove this is we need access to this nut here. We need access to this nut, and then we're also going to need access to this nut back here. And that's it. Once we remove these two bolts, well, this bolt and this bolt here, we're going to be able to remove the whole control arm. The only other thing we got to disconnect here, you're going to notice this wire with these come off. This is your ABS wire. There we go. So this, you basically just poke your screwdriver here on the side and this pops up. There we go. And I think we got a couple back here as well. There we go. There's one. And two. So the ABS cable now is loose, so obviously we can remove the control arm and the cable will stay where it is. Okay, so one side is 18 millimeter and then the other side, the nut, is 21 millimeter. All right, so we've got this nut loosened now. We're going to take off our 18 mil wrench, and then what you can do is just pop this out, and this should come out. If it doesn't come out, not a problem. You just put your wrench here, and then if you can access your wrench, you can hopefully. Alright, we'll have to knock that out further in a second. So the other side, what we're going to do on the other side here, right here, we've got our 21 mil. I'm going to put that on the nut, and then we've got our hex on this side. So we're gonna put that here, and nope, that's still too tight. All right, we're gonna loosen it up a little, and then we'll try that. I might even use a socket for that. Got a 21 mil here, and I can just loosen it with this.